The high school season is behind us.
I think I heard in the distance a couple parties break out, so it could go both ways. I'm not exactly sure if people are sad, if they're happy, but one thing is for sure, we'll be back in the fall.
Yeah, we're nearing what? We're nearing the mid-June already. So why not talk about Garfield and Roosevelt football? Why not? The East LA Classic is great. They always play at East LA College, right? Not next year. It's going back to the Coliseum. It was in the Coliseum from 90 to 93. They got 33,000.
Forever to get that ball out.
People, hey, anytime a high school athlete can get a collegiate or professional experience in a venue like that, it's always a plus. And it's win or lose, it's a day you'll always remember. So it's great to see a game back at the Coliseum.
It really is. And for many years, 10 years in a row, Garfield won the East LA Classic. However, Roosevelt finally broke through. So now the rivalry has been rebuilt, so they should have more fans going to the Coliseum. That will be great.
How about that footage? Are you on the call for this game?
I did not call this game.
Oh, wow.
I called about 12 or 13 of them, but not this one.
Okay.
You know, mine were a little later than this.
Okay.
Maybe not. Okay, let's turn our attention to hoops. A lot of movement. Now let's start as I tee you up.
Nice.
T. Bartlett, Mater Dei, great freshman center. I love watching him play this year, but he's leaving. He's going to Nevada. He's transferring out.
I would say the big man in the middle for Mater Dei and the Monarchs is going to be a sophomore next year. I think, fair to say that they were going to build the team around him, and now he's gone. I don't know what Mater Dei is going to do. They lost a summer league game today to Chaminade. You know, summer league ball, you don't want to read too much into it, but I'll tell you right now, Chaminade's not all that good. So it'll be interesting to see what Mater Dei does from here, but T. Bartlett, top 25 recruit type kid. When it's all said and done, well, he'll kind of need to go wherever he wants when he's a senior. So interesting to see what ends up happening in Nevada.
And he's got that Shaquille O'Neal type of body, so he's going to play anywhere because he's so physical. All right, there's another guy. I'm going to give you some clues. Crespi, Rebay Academy, Sierra Canyon, where he was last year. Now he's going to Cronus Centennial. And the answer is?
Yeah, Mikey Price. You know, it's unfortunate that athletes are kind of tagged with the transfer moves, but it's the way of the world now, and that's just the truth. But Mike Price is, the word I always use for him is slithery, because he's really hard to stay in front of. He's probably one of the best ball handlers in Southern California, maybe the state, at the guard position. So Cronus Centennial, back-to-back Open Division champions. Well, they'll be the front runner again for a third time, and they've just added Mike Price. So ceiling is endless for that team.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. Josh Giles does a great job there. So that's it. Mike Price, those moves are spectacular. He's really, really good, and he's only going to make Cronus Centennial better. But he wasn't the only one to abandon Sierra Canyon.
That's right. So Sierra Canyon, Malik Rasul, Trenton Flowers, like a top 10 recruit type kid. He'll be a junior next year. He's out. And Tim Radovsky. So altogether they lose 4 players. That leaves guys like Bronny James, Dylan Matoyer, and JoJo Phillips, kind of the 3 returners for that Sierra Canyon team. And if there's one thing that we always know about Sierra Canyon, in the summer they will always add players. So look for that to happen this summer as well.
And it will be entertaining with Bronny finally going into his senior year, Bronny James. All right, back to baseball. Regional champs, head coach, he's been there like 20-some years, Benji Medure, Huntington Beach. He loses to Notre Dame, which is Michaela Caster's new school to be when she goes to college. So Notre Dame sounds good to her, but it doesn't sound good to Benji because they knocked him out in the playoffs. But because he qualified by being a semifinalist, he got into the regional playoffs and went all the way and won the championship, knocking off Jay Serra, who was the division champion during the CIF playoffs. Coach, welcome to the show. And first and foremost, congratulations on being the regional baseball champions for Southern California.
Thank you, Randy. I appreciate it. It was an awesome way to end the season for sure. I can't speak enough for our kids and how they stayed with it. After we lost to Notre Dame, and sorry, Michaela, that we have to talk badly about Notre Dame, but it hurt me in the heart, and it hurt our kids. So to find that resilience and to come back and to win that championship was pretty awesome.
All right, take me through the last out. I understand you got blocked in the dugout. It was not easy for you to even see the final out of the game.
Well, I sit next to my pitching coach, and my pitching coach is 6'5", 280 pounds. He's a big dude. And, we're both watching the pitch, and the ball went up. And I knew that it was a pop-up on the infield. But as soon as it went up, he stood up in front of me, and he stuck his forearm into my chest, and he pinned me up against the wall. And he was just waiting for the ball to be caught. So I didn't get a chance to see it at all. And as soon as I heard the ball caught or the eruption from the crowd, then I got mobbed. So no, I can't even give you a play-by-play on the last out because I didn't see it. I was shoved up against the wall.
Coach, talk about the time in between the loss and the regional playoffs starting. I know that the Southern California regionals, the CIF Southern section kind of had to wait because NorCal was catching up. So you lost, had to wait for the final to be played, then wait a week for the regionals to start. Talk about that time there. Was it a challenge for you guys?
100% it was a challenge. It was a challenge to motivate the kids. It was a challenge to convince them that it was worth coming back and to play again, and I think the main message that I sent to them was, you don't get second chances that very often in baseball. And when you do, you got to take advantage. It was a pretty emotional meeting when we had kids. I know I got emotional just because I started talking a little bit about life and get with it. So from that point forward, I thought we had pretty good practices. We kept it light. We didn't really grind on them as much as we would in a normal, regular season week. Kept it light, and when we got to San Diego and we played La Casa on that game 1, we were ready to roll.
Coach, what made the Oilers special this year? Why were they a championship baseball team?
We were resilient. That was the one thing that at the end of the year, after we had our championship, we met the next talked about overcome things. It was one of those years where we had to overcome a lot, and the first thing we had to overcome was the internal battle that we had with each other. At the beginning of the season, we were 4-4. We didn't know who we were. I don't think we really loved each other as a team. There was some internal fighting, and there's a lot of selfishness, and we had to get past that. And since that, when we got past that, work together and be together as a family and really, play as a unit, I think is when we started to turn a corner. But like most of all, it's just we've overcome a lot of adversity. And we took that into the playoffs, and it really helped us. I think the other thing about our team was that we played a very tough schedule, and playing the best teams in America and in the North Carolina tournament, playing in the Boris, which is notoriously the best tournament in California. We had some out of conference losses to Olu and MLK. We were battle tested, and we knew that going into the playoffs. So we felt right at home playing against really tough competition when we got there.
Piggybacking off Randy just a little bit, that's kind of a rounded way to talk about your team. Please be more specific. Give us some names, whether it be from the mound or at the plate, guys in the field that really helped you have the great season you had.
I think, we go off of our number one pitcher, and that was Ben Jacobs. He's a UCLA commit. He was 8-2 this year. He had 99 strikeouts in 63 innings. And a quick story about him, he had his wisdom teeth pulled out on Friday, the day before the championship game. He pitched on Tuesday. He threw six innings on Tuesday. We didn't expect him to come back. And he even told us, he's like, Coach, I'm getting my wisdom teeth out on Friday. I'm not going to be able to play on Saturday. And I was okay with it. We get in the dugout. He's in his turfs. Long story short, I convince him, hey, go play catch. And sure enough, he comes back. He's like, hey, my arm feels good. He had to borrow a uniform. He had to borrow cleats. And he started playing catch. He's like, you have me if you need me at the end of the game. So as soon as Ralph Velasquez hit the 2-run home run in the 8th, Ben went down to the bullpen and warmed up, and he closed the game out, less than 24 hours after having his wisdom teeth pulled out.
Awesome story. Great story, Coach. Final question. Would you like to see the Southern California regional champion play the Northern champion for a true state title?
Is any CIF officer listening right now? I hope, because this is what needs to happen. This is what really needs to happen. We need to, all the sections of CIF, from Central to Northern to San Diego to LA to Southern section, we need to start on the same day. We need to end the playoffs on the same day. We need to start our regionals, right after everyone finishes their CIF championship. And then from there, one more game or one more three, like a best of three with the North and the South. We play the best baseball in America and California. There's no reason why we can't get this right and have a state champion.
Last ad, how good are you going to be next year?
We're going to be pretty damn good.
I love it.
Spoken like a true champion. Maybe the difference next year, you're not only the regional champ, maybe the Southern section titleist as well. Benji Medure, congratulations on the title.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, a lot of fun. Good guy. Hey, one thing about baseball, we saw it with all those great Trinity League teams. It's not easy to win any title. And to bounce back after losing in the Southern section and coming back and winning the championship of the regional, that's great stuff. And they beat a great Villa Park team as well.
No question. I think a lot of baseball coaches, we talked with Matt Matuzak from Granada Hills earlier this year. I don't know about changing the format, but especially in baseball and in high school baseball, that one and done looming, you could have a bad day and you're out. You could be 30-0 going to the playoffs and lose one game and it's done. So you need a little bit of luck. And I think Coach Medure would agree with that.
You know what? We got a celebrity on our hands coming up here. Michaela Caster is going to join us now. She's from Oaks Christian. She had that phenomenal year. But she today was named the Gatorade Softball Player of the Year for the state. You got to see this smile. She's got a great smile, too. Michaela, welcome to the program, and congratulations on a very well-deserved honor.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, it's good to have you aboard. All right. How'd you lose one game? I mean, you were, what, 25-1? One game, one stinking game. How'd you lose that game?
We were playing a really good team, and coming into it, we knew that they were offensively stacked. And I feel like it was just like you were saying earlier, it was just one of those games where we didn't play to the best of our abilities. And it wasn't a reflection on how we'd played before throughout the season. So I feel like definitely getting that second opportunity to come back and run for a title in state was what we needed. And I feel like we made that statement and came out playing strong even after losing to Los Alamitos. But, I feel like we just carried over that energy and we wanted kind of a redemption time for state.
And then after the loss, you got into the regionals. You end up beating Roosevelt Eastvale, who knocked off Los Alamitos earlier to win the CIF Southern section. So it comes all the way around and you knock out Roosevelt. But it wasn't easy. It was a 6-5 game. Take us to the ninth inning. If you want, you can do maybe a little play-by-play with Michaela Caster in the circle as you try to get that final out as Roosevelt Eastvail's trying to come from behind and knock you off. Tell us. Give it to us.
Totally. So I'll take you back to a little bit before the seventh inning. So we had that 4-run lead for a couple innings, I believe. So walking out in there in the seventh inning, I knew that I had to do a job. And it was knowing a team like Roosevelt and how they've been the comeback kids all year, I think taking 3 or 4 games from behind, and they just are offensively stacked. And I knew, so going into that last final inning, I just wanted to remain calm, keep my confidence there out in the mound. I knew my defense had my back the entire game, and I just wanted to breathe. So I went out there, 6-5, we're up, bottom of the 7th, and we get those first 2 outs, and that was huge. And I felt like that's kind of where I let myself, take a step back, walk around the circle and breathe for the first time, I feel like, the whole game. And that definitely cost me. So you can't sleep on a team like Roosevelt, just knowing how ready they are to sweep the game from under your feet at any time. So after a big battle with that number 3 batter coming up, she made her way to first base. That's my fault. And then I feel like then afterwards there was a base hit up the middle, so that puts runners on first and second. Still 2 outs. So we're just scratching for anything we can get at this point. The next batter, unfortunately, got away from me, so bases loaded. We're talking like the perfect scenario here for a game to be swept away from your feet, or just for the most exciting game, in my opinion, ever to be a part of. We have bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. We're up by 1. And the batter who I was facing had actually hit a ball pretty far over the fence in the first inning. So definitely knew it was at the table here. So I got the first 2 strikes on her, and I was just, okay, this is not going to get away from me right here. I could feel the crowd getting louder and the cheers from the dugouts. And I just kept focusing on my catcher's glove and looking at my defense. We didn't have to say a word to each other. We just kept giving that nod of you got this and stay confident. And I remember that feeling before I threw that 3rd pitch, and it was a similar feeling that I'd felt a couple more times earlier in that inning, like, oh, is this going to be the pitch? Is this going to be the pitch? But I had a good feeling about this one, and just as soon as the ball left my hand, I knew that I had her on that outside corner. That's where I lived throughout most of the game, and I just had her looking on that outside curveball. And once the umpire called strike 3, it was just all the pressure in the world, all the stress just lifted off my shoulders, and we had that huge team celebration, and it was the most amazing feeling of my high school experience, and I would not have traded it for the moon.
Wow,
That's good stuff.
That was really good.
You're fired.
Talk about
She's in.
Yeah, talk about
Caster's in here
storytelling,
next year.
man. I better watch out. Michaela, again, such a great season, and I was there for a lot of it. Not a lot of it, but a lot of games. And watching you have such great focus. You kind of alluded to it there in those final moments. But what is it that you think over the years has helped you channel in on your goals when you're in the circle? What you're trying to execute and execute it well. Can you kind of talk about why you've gotten so good at just being laser focused?
Absolutely. So that's definitely something that going in my freshman year, and especially in the travel ball years before, I didn't have really under control. I think my biggest enemy at the time was myself and just my confidence, and I would rush myself when I got into jams. So I feel like in the middle of my high school season, I think around my sophomore year when I joined Coach Tony Rico's Firecracker team, a big thing that they instilled in us was breathing and having confidence and just taking your time to dictate the pace of the entire game. So I feel like once I started working really closely with Tony and the pitching coaches that they have, I just really felt confident in starting to breathe more. And I felt like once that I just took time to really focus on my breathing and focus on each pitch at a time, not worrying about who's coming up to the plate next or anything like that. I just focused one pitch at a time, and definitely just simply breathing helped me so much throughout my season. And especially in the batter's box too, I feel like playing on both sides of the ball has been a huge help for me just to be able to feel like I'm involved in contributing and can put my worries and stress not into just one thing. So if I'm lacking on my pitching, I know that I can still be there for my team and pick myself up in the box and vice versa. So I just feel like breathing and taking my time, especially when I'm out there on the mound, has been my greatest success so far.
You mentioned it, being at bat, you kind of can help your own cause sometimes. And I have called you the Shohei Ohtani of softball. 11 home runs. I think you batted like well over
Shohei
5.
Ohtani has never gone 25-1.
Yeah, that's
he's got
true.
good stuff. He's talented, but he's no Michaela Caster.
True.
Let's be honest here.
But I wanted to ask about now kind of just in the batter's box, right? You hit home runs. You're driving runs in. Just kind of talk about your talents in the batter's box as well, and why you think you're so good at it.
That's definitely started when I was super young. When I first started playing softball, I started way out in the outfield, little 8-year-old, and just no action. When you're playing rec ball and you're 8 years old, nothing gets into the outfield. And I was like, I don't want to be out here. Like, I want to be that girl that's standing in the middle of the circle. She gets to touch the ball every single play. She seems like she's the most important one out there. And I wanted to be that girl. And then I started pitching, and I wanted to really focus on that. And I was like, wait, those pitchers, they get a hit. Well, why don't I get a hit? And so once I started like throwing around the bat a little bit and swinging around, I realized that I could be so much more involved in the game just as a position player. And I wanted to really play both sides of the ball all throughout my career. So like you said earlier, definitely having that mindset of being able to pick myself up if I'm not batting how I'd like to, or if I'm not throwing the ball how I'd like to. Just knowing that I can still be there for my team if I'm feeling off in one aspect is really what drew me to be kind of a two-way player.
Well, you had a great career at Oaks Christian, and then my sources were telling me that you were a lock for Northwestern. Now, suddenly I see this banner behind you. It says Notre Dame. What happened? I thought you were going to be a Wildcat. Now you're going to be playing for the Fighting Irish. What happened?
I definitely did appreciate both of those visits. I took them 1 week apart, actually. So I went to Northwestern first and walked around their campus, and I could not be more grateful for the coaches and how they just welcomed me in and took me around the campus. It was probably the most beautiful campus that I had ever seen up to that point, and I just really felt like I had a strong connection with the coaches, and everything was great. And then the next weekend, I went out to Notre Dame, and I just, as soon as I got on campus, I had that feeling. Like I'd been there before, and obviously I'd never been to the middle of the Midwest and South Bend, Indiana, but just walking around that campus, I felt a calling, like this was my place. And looking back on it, I feel like Notre Dame is going to be a direct continuation of Oaks Christian, I feel like, in a way, with bringing in that aspect of like religion, and just the coaches and the environment just feels like a place that I felt like I could thrive for the next 4 years. I fell in love with their film and television major, and that's what I'll be going into next year. And I just felt like at home. That's all I can really say towards that. I had that immediate connection with the coaches, and we had just instant connection and chemistry. So I feel like from the beginning, I kind of had a feeling that I was going to end up being Irish, and then once I got to the campus, that just solidified all my feelings.
That's fantastic. I do have to ask one question about Pete Ackerman. Just your thoughts on Coach Ackerman. He's been around a long time. He's coached a lot of good players, one being Maya Brady, one of his better known
She played
players.
with Maya Brady.
That's right. But, we just, okay, Randy, can I ask my
I got
question?
excited that she played with Maya Brady.
But just about Pete Ackerman and, kind of a quirky guy. We all know Coach Pete can be funny, but just talk about what he's like as a coach and maybe even as a motivator.
Definitely. So obviously, like everyone, they have their perceptions of Coach Ackerman, and just his kind of like his sarcasm, I feel like, goes misunderstood from a lot of people's perspectives. But at the end of the day, at the end of classes, going down to the field, he really does, at the end of the day, like care about us like we are his own grandchildren. And we had our award ceremony last night with the team, and that's just something that he said, like, he feels such a strong connection for us, more than players, and he cares about us way more than players, but he cares about us as people. He's constantly was keeping up with our academics, making sure that on campus we were just enjoying and making the most of our time. But I definitely, from day one, stuck close to him, just because, like, I didn't really know any of the girls coming in. I didn't go to the middle school, so he kind of had all those girls coming up from 8th grade that he knew. So I was just kind of like, I'm just going to be best friends with this guy. I've heard a lot of things about people not getting on with him or stuff like that. And I was like, if I'm going to come out here with my personality and I'm going to win him over. And if he likes me, hopefully I'll get the time. But we ended up hitting it off really well. And I could not be more thankful for everything that he's done for me these last 4 years, and all the ways that he's supported me on and off the field, in my passions for film and other ways like that. He's always just been there more than a coach. So I do appreciate everything that he's done for me.
Well, Michaela, we like you, so that's all that matters.
I'm glad.
And we're glad that you were on the show. Congratulations on the Gatorade Award for being the State Player of the Year. You're the Daily News Softball Player of the Year. Tarek's going to give you some honors down the road here, and you get those. Continued success at Notre Dame. We'd like to keep track of you. Next year, we'll bring you back and talk about Notre Dame softball and how you've adapted. But congratulations on a senior season, which was the best in California, and thank you for being on SoCal Prep Report.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, you take care. All right, that's Michaela Caster. Go Irish, right? She's mature, and that's great to see. She's just a lovely young lady.
Yeah, no, I tell you what, I always tell athletes when I've covered them all 4 years or even a couple of years when they graduate and I get a chance to, hey, good luck to you. And I always keep track of kids when they go on to college, maybe even the professional ranks, because you really get to know them before they blow up, you know what I mean? And so I think she's got a bright future.
You know what's interesting, and we'll give you a little industry insight here. We were talking about who we're going to bring on for our final show.
Yeah.
And this is before last week, before Oaks Christian won the championship, and we wanted to bring her on before that. So she ends up pitching them to the regional championship. She's the hero on the final weekend, and she's the guest we wanted all along. So that worked out perfectly. All right, Tarek, last show. We're coming back August 18th. What's your biggest and most fond memory from the high school season? Any sport.
Oh, man.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you are. I can't think of one off the top of my head. right now, but I do want to maybe shout out a couple athletes that that I enjoyed covering this year. One being maybe Arliss Boardingham from Birmingham High School. It's refreshing nowadays to see an athlete that sticks around for 4 years. There's so many transfers, let alone one like Arliss Boardingham, who stayed at a city section school and had success, and now he's going to the University of Florida football. I mean, it's just like he did it from a city section school. Wanted to give him a shout out. And then the last thing I will say, Harvard Westlake basketball, homegrown, only one transfer, took down Sierra Canyon, great season, Coach David Rabibo. So maybe those are the two topics I felt like I really enjoyed covering this year.
And what are you looking forward to most next season?
Okay, so I'll stay right on topic. It's got to be Mission League basketball. Mission League, just Sierra Canyon, maybe in the Mission League. When it comes to football, we're going to see Sierra Canyon take on Sarah Gardena, Chaminade, teams like that, Bishop Amat. Then in basketball, Notre Dame, Harvard Westlake, St. Francis. It's going to be really fun to cover.
All right, I got to bring up modern day football. I mean, they had a troubled year off the gridiron with problems with fights in the locker room and all kinds of stuff that we really don't want to talk about. We don't go there on this show. But then they go out and win the CAF Southern Section Championship. They win the state title because they went undefeated, and the mythical national title. So they hang 3 banners in Santa Ana in football, and that's a great accomplishment for that football team. What I look forward to, and you kind of touched upon it, I look forward to Bronny James in his senior year. We know it's a circus at Sierra Canyon. Doesn't matter about other guys transferring in and out. Next year is Bronny James, LeBron James Jr., last year in high school in Chatsworth. That's going to be something special.
It really will be, and look for that team to put a national schedule together and fly around, 8 states in one season, and they'll pack out NBA arenas like they always do, 12,000, 14, 15,000 people showing up. So it'll be a spectacle. It has been for 3 years. Why not one more year over in Chatsworth?
Are you going to miss me? We're not going to be on until August.
I will not miss you.
I didn't think so.
Okay.
I did not think that you would miss me. Now, do you know the date that we're coming back?
August 18th.
And why that date?
I believe that is week 0 of football season.
It is. So on the 19th, we'll have a full slate of football games to discuss. So we'll come on the night before, 9 o'clock probably, right in this time slot, August 18th. I don't expect you to remember it. You're not going to remember it. But it's the 3rd Thursday in August. We'll be here. We'll talk about football. It'll be great. And will it be modern day again? St. John Bosco figures to have a terrific team. That's no surprise either. And in the city, who knows? Maybe Venice. They came up this year. They were very strong. It'll be interesting to see who the city powers will be. And we'll also take a look at that Garfield-Roosevelt game that'll be played finally in the Coliseum. 30 seconds. Thank you, Tarek Fatal. I got to go in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I got nothing to say, but thank you, Randy. It's a fun show. Looking forward to coming back in the fall, and thank you all out there for watching.
Got to thank our producer, Larry Zavala.
Absolutely.
Gio in the background. Gio gets all the sound done for us. Great guy. He might have a bigger appetite than me, though, and that's hard to believe. All right, for all the guys here, everybody at the station, Carla Carlini, our executive producer.
Yes.
I'm Randy Rosenbaum for Tarek Fatal. We'll see you in August. Have a great summer, and good night for now on SoCal Prep Report. Take care, everybody.